Hello, everyone. Welcome to the October edition of the OpenLineage monthly meeting. As a reminder, this call is being recorded, and the recording and the notes will be posted on the OpenLineage wiki at the LFAI and Data Foundation. For people who missed it, they'll be able to follow up the discussions there. We'll start the meeting with a quick intro. And so I think everybody's familiar in attendance today. So I'll start. Julien, I'm the project lead for OpenLineage. And today I have a few discussion items, mainly, hi Jens, we're just getting started. And so Guten Abend, Jens, we're just getting started. Welcome. So I was saying I'm Julien, I'm the project lead for OpenLineage, and today I put in the discussion items a list of tickets I created. So we had a few discussions about registry and certification and other things. And so I created tickets so we can have more easily those discussions asynchronously and on the GitHub issues. And so I put that in the discussion items at the end of the meeting today. So on my screen, top left is Michael Robinson.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Robinson, Community Manager and Contributor, and I'm here today to take notes, talk about recent releases, and news coming out of Airflow Summit last month.
Pavel.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I'm software engineer at Getting Data and the contributor of OpenLineage Marquez, working mostly with Flink and Spark integration. I'm happy to be here and see the community growing. Thank you.
Harel.
Hi, everyone. I'm an engineering director at Astronomer, working on developer experience and observability. Been working on OpenLineage for quite some time. Really looking forward for today's discussion.
Ernie.
Ernie Ostick with Manta Software. We consume OpenLineage today, and we're starting to investigate being a producer as well. So here always to catch up on all the good news.
Jakub.
I'm Jacob. I'm software engineer in Getting Data as well as Pavel, based in Warsaw, Poland. I'm a OpenLineage contributor, and today I'll be talking briefly about migrating to the Airflow OpenLineage provider.
Jens?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jens. I'm engineering manager at Google. My team is building the data lineage capability for GCP Dataplex and BigQuery as well. Happy to be here and curious to learn more. Thanks.
Welcome. And last but not the least, not last, sorry. And Shiri.
I'm not muted. Great. I'm Shiri Cabral. I'm a product manager at Calibra, and I have been working with the community to expand what OpenLineage actually is. And yeah.
Welcome. And let me just quickly check if there's anybody else that needs to get introduced. I think that's it.
There are actually a bunch of people without their videos on. So.
Let me turn off because I have the setting when I show only the video participants. So let me actually fix this. Where is the button? Okay, you'd think I can use Zoom at this point, you know.
If you want an assist, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll pop up the participant list. Okay, so actually, okay, next I'll go with Austin, and then I'll go with from the list. We have a ton of participants today. I didn't even realize. Austin Bennett.
Hello. I don't know. I guess Hey guys, I'm coming in from my role as a architect over at Chartboost, is a ad tech company, and have an interest in OpenLineage. Also, I guess relevant PMC member of Apache Flagon and committer on Apache Beam, among other stuff. So kind of highlight that by way of hopefully that illustrates my kind of passion and involvement in open source movements and pushing open source contributions more generally through the Chartboost, which rolls up to Zynga, which rolls up to Take-Two, a large video game company. So putting together policies on getting our engineers contributing more generally. And obviously here as very interested in actually understanding our data lineage, because we have a lot of data all over the place. So
welcome. So okay, I didn't realize we have actually 18 participants. I was only looking at the videos. This is cool. So next on my screen is Peter Huang.
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone. So I'm engineer at Apple in the Flink team. So we are recently using the lineage for the Flink platform. So I would like to contribute more on the Flink connectors and the Flink SQL lineage things there. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next is Jivan.
Hey. Hi, everyone. I am Jeevan. I work as a engineering manager at Axel Data. We are a observability startup based out of Bangalore in India. So I have just started exploring OpenLineage so that we have many of our clients actually using Airflow. So to provide them with the lineage support, we started on this actually. So right now, Airflow already one of our clients we started supporting. So we went into Spark as well. So many of our clients are using Databricks workflow. So I'm exploring on that.
Next is Martin.
Hi, my name is Martin Fulton. I'm with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, leading a research team at Hewlett-Packard Labs. We are developing a common metadata framework to capture metadata and lineage from AI platforms and learn from this to optimize the pipelines. And we are looking for opportunities to collaborate, to develop connectors to import and export lineage to and from the OpenLineage and kind of become a bigger part of the broader ecosystem. And so I'm glad to be here and excited about seeing the progress that you are making.
Thank you. Next is Anne-Marie.
Hi, I work in HP Labs on Common Metadata Framework, and I work in the area of lineage tracking, provenance tracking for metadata in AI pipelines. And as Martin just mentioned, yeah, we are looking forward to the latest updates in the OpenLineage and how we can integrate to that.
Thank you. Eric. Eric Veliker. And we can get back to you later. Harsh.
Hey, hey, Julian. I'm an engineer at Upgrade, a fintech firm. We are the consumer of OpenLineage ecosystem and markers. Last quarter, I presented everything we did with OpenLineage within our company, like Airflow integration and markers database as is we are consuming to track our lineage for custom services we have, where we don't have integrations already built in. So I'm here to really looking forward to static lineage progress. Yeah. So, but yeah, happy to be here.
Nice. And I think the last name on my list is Sunder.
Yeah, hi. So I'm part of data engineering team of Jaguar Land Rover. So we are in the process of implementing Data Vault. We are looking primarily on open source technologies, website, and OpenLineage is one of them. So I'm here just to understand the contribution on OpenLineage and other aspects. So happy to be here.
Thank you. Welcome. And I think this is all. Maybe like so, Zoom keeps reordering the list as people mute and unmute. So of course, it's not helpful. Eric, are you able to speak, or do you want to intro yourself or not? Otherwise, it's also fine to just be a fly in the wall and just listen.
Hello, Eric Belliker from Atlan. Very glad to be here and to see so many of you in person in Toronto during Airflow Summit. I thought it was a great event, and we're just excited to see OpenLineage really start to take off. Very exciting. Thanks all for all your efforts.
It is. And I think I see one last person is Willie.
Yeah, thanks, Julien. Hello, everyone. I'm Willie. I'm the co-creator of Marquez and a TSC member of OpenLineage, and I work as astronomer, hacking on data lineage full time. Too much fun.
Cool. Welcome, everyone. So I'll go quickly. So this slide is just reminding you the best way to communicate with the community in between those meetings. So if you want to get invited, have other people find it, you can send them to the Pick Meetings page. Slack is the best place to communicate in between meetings. Mailing list, wiki, Twitter, LinkedIn groups are more about announcing new releases. The YouTube channel gets the recording of those meetings. And of course, the GitHub is where you open issues and you comment on discussion. So today on the agenda with a couple of announcements, I'll go quickly over the recent release that Michael will cover. And then after that, so those are the usual items. We have a quick Airflow Summit recap from Michael, tutorial demo from Jakub, or do you prefer I say Jacob? I mean, either way.
Whatever.
We'll talk about how to move from the existing OpenLineage integration to the now built-in OpenLineage Airflow Provider. And we have a bunch of discussion items, and this may look like a lot for the discussion items. We may follow up asynchronously on the documents that are linked here. So first, I'll go on the announcement. So please go to the ecosystem survey and fill up about your usage of OpenLineage, or what you wish it had, and so on. This is the main way we bubble up what people need in the community. So you can go to the bit.ly/ecosystem_survey link and be able to answer this. You'll find this link also on the website if you're looking for it. A quick announcement, the OpenLineage meetup keeps going around the world. Thank you very much, Google, for hosting the next one in Warsaw, Poland on November 29th. And you have a great presentation from about the Dataplex integration, the Spark integration, and the next step for extracting from Python operator in Airflow, and contribute to the Spark integration. So on that, I'm going to pass the microphone virtually to Michael.
Hi, everyone. I'll be brief because we have many discussion items today, and we've got an exciting demo from Jakub coming up. But in 1.2.2, we published the spec-defined process engine run facet alongside custom Spark version facet. At least we're doing that for now. But please note the Spark version facet has been deprecated and will be removed in a future release. Also in Spark, we're capturing and emitting a new variable from Databricks. Thank you to all the contributors, including new contributors, Damien, Tatiana, and XLI 1026. In 1.3.1, moving on to the next slide. In Airflow, we added some stats to the integration from the existing stats_d component. We're also now adding columns as a schema facet for airflow.lineage.table if defined. In DBT, we added SQL Server, and in Spark, we're now supporting 3.5, and in Spark 3.3, we're now supporting 3.3.3. Please note that Delta and Iceberg are not supported for 3.5 at this time. Thanks to all the contributors, including Eric. And in 1.4.1, yeah, that's fine.
Sorry,
Okay. No problem. In the client, we're allowing setting the endpoint via environment variable because doing it manually is not possible in Airflow. We're also in Flink now supporting Flink Iceberg source and Flink Iceberg table source. In Spark, we added a new debug facet. Please note that it is disabled by default. And in Spark, we have now added support for the Nessie REST catalog. Thanks, Julien and Peter, and all the contributors, including many bug fixes, which I can't get into, but that goes for all the releases, of course. Thanks, everybody.
And now we're moving on to the OpenLineage recap at Airflow Summit.
Yeah, and again, this will be brief. I just wanted to share some exciting highlights from last month's Airflow Summit, where OpenLineage made a big showing. Some news out of the summit that was exciting. Google announced OpenLineage support in Dataplex and Dataproc. DataHub announced OpenLineage support is coming soon. And the project got a shout out on the main stage during a keynote panel from AWS and Google. Both of them agreed that they're hearing from customers that OpenLineage support should be on the roadmap. Moving on, just some pictures. Here are Mache, Julien, and Harel at the meetup we held the Monday before the conference on the 18th. Mache also gave a talk during the conference on the provider, and Julien gave a talk on nurturing open source communities based on all of his experience doing that. Here are some more pictures from the conference and the meetup. We dressed up as pirates. Want to stay up to date on events, releases, publications, and so forth? Subscribe to the newsletter. You can find the link on the website homepage.
Thank you. If you have any question, of course, you know, the goal of this meeting, feel free to interrupt and ask questions. And otherwise, I'll move on to Jakub. Jakub, are you happy with me moving forward on the slides, or I'm happy to give you the screen if you want?
I can take over the screen because I want to have a quick demo as well.
I'll stop sharing them. Here you go.
Okay. Just let me know if you can see it.
Yep.
Okay. So I talked briefly about how to migrate from the standalone OpenLineage Airflow package to the Airflow OpenLineage Provider one. I start with giving some reasons why we wanted to become an Airflow provider. So we wanted to make sure that the metadata that we collect and emit in Airflow is not breaking Airflow itself. This was well, I think Maciej Buchowski was speaking about it in some of the previous sessions. Sorry. But there were several places where each Airflow version changed something, and we just couldn't keep up on this. This required us some spaghetti code or some weird logic. This was the same for Airflow Provider. Here you can see one of the methods that we have to get hook from, I think, Snowflake operator, where we needed to check whether it's get DB hook or get hook. So now, when we are part of Airflow code, we don't need to do that. We are just a part of unit tests and some other tests that make sure that what we currently have as OpenLineage part of providers is working, and we actually have the same code base as others. The other thing is that not only we keep the latest code up to date with all the providers, but we also become part of these providers of the operators. So we can include the whole logic inside operator on hook. And that's important for us because well, we can let other contributors do the job when adding OpenLineage support directly in the Airflow repository. And also it's a huge step for us because it gives us some visibility. So Airflow can be somehow advertised that it uses OpenLineage. Well, it looks like people are really interested in that. So it might work actually. So there were a couple of changes that were introduced in the provider package. So starting from August this year, there was released first version. Now it's 1.1.0. And what's important is that it's compatible with Airflow 2.7 plus. The reason is that there were some changes in the code that make sure that we are fully compatible with core Airflow, which means that we can resolve mapped task. We can work with async operators as well. And what was actually for me the most important reason is that we don't intercept SQL Alchemy sessions. At the moment, we don't need it. We are just in the middle of tasks execution and DAX scheduling. So we don't break any SQL related sessions that might stop Airflow from working, especially Airflow Worker. There were a couple of changes in current get OpenLineage facets on something. So previously we had a concept of default extractor, which is actually still in the provider one, but we added failure as another method that you can provide. So you can define what kind of metadata is emitted when the task is failing. And additionally, this is something that we've been missing previously, so you can configure the package through the main Airflow config file or through the Airflow specific environment variables. I'll be talking about this later too. So the main question is how to migrate. The easiest one is that you just need to do the pip install for the specific package. Of course, you can choose which version if you need it. And also, you don't actually need to uninstall the OpenLineage Airflow package because it's getting disabled when it detects that the provider package is installed and enabled. But sometimes you shouldn't be uninstalling the previous one package, and I talk about it a bit later too. But the simplest way is to just do the pip install, which I will show you in the demo. So one of the things that we would like to kind of walk away from is custom extractors. This was an idea to give people some possibility to develop new logic for operators that they don't have control over its code or want to override something that already exists. So there was and still is a possibility to write a custom extractor that was controlled by the OpenLineage extractor's environment variable. And it's still working in the OpenLineage provider. you can also configure it from the Airflow configuration file as well. And this is the same as previously. So when you define and say what custom extractor is responsible for which class in Airflow or operator, it takes precedence over what's possibly included in current implementation of the operator. So it's the same. And as I mentioned, there is a default extractor that looks for get OpenLineage facets on something, on something methods, and if they exist on the operator, in the operator class, it tries to run them. So the concept is the same, and actually the provider package is also using default extractor. So this is not a big of change. The only thing is that previously, obviously, you needed to define some operator lineage construct. This is actually data class that defines inputs, outputs, run and job facets. And this is automatically translated to the provider one class. So you don't need to worry that if you have implemented some get OpenLineage facets method previously that's based on the old module and class, you do not need to worry about it because this is translated. But obviously, if you uninstall OpenLineage Airflow, you will fail to import the old class. So in this case, if you uninstall it, you need to change the import path. Also, there are changes introduced in configuration. So there is a whole section called OpenLineage in Airflow config. Many of features that were previously available in OpenLineage Airflow package is also compatible with the provider. So especially, I think that people usually use like OpenLineage URL. This is pretty common and still works, so you don't need to add anything to the Airflow config. It still works. But we also added some entries in the OpenLineage section, which take a precedence over what's been previously handled by environment variables. So here are some examples. It's pretty straightforward. The logic for like config takes precedence over OpenLineage URL. It's still the same. I wouldn't like to explain this here. It's all in the docs. But that's just some examples of how it works right now. Well, I can refer to docs when you can find the reference for configuration. Just a quick mention how to add some new integration in the Airflow provider, or maybe not even in the Airflow provider, but in other providers that make use of Airflow OpenLineage provider. So first thing is that we wanted to give up on using OpenLineage common dataset module. We want to, well, deprecate it soon, maybe not soon, but in some time in the future, and use just the classes from the OpenLineage Python, OpenLineage Python client. So example is the dataset facet and some other that are used like to specify schema, for example. And some quick advice is that, well, this is, for example, I think BigQuery insert job operator. So previously, when we didn't have any control or influence on how to grab some information from execution of the operator, we needed to read the code and see that maybe job ID is returned as an XCOM, for example. I think this was the case. And now when we added the integration in the BigQuery operator itself, we can just change the code so it saves the job ID as an attribute. So we get the information without like making many workarounds that are pretty messy and usually might not work for some reasons. Here we have like best way ever to grab the data needed to extract something. And I'd like to give a quick demo of how it works. Just give me a second. So as a starter, I'm using Breeze, which is a mostly development environment and CLI for Airflow. This is pretty common option that people use. It's also used in the CI to prepare some provider packages, Airflow packages, etc. But I'm using it to develop and show how it works. So I'm using Airflow version 2.7.1, and I'm also using integration OpenLineage, which instantiates Marquez. Also, that's an option that we have in Airflow. And the only package that I'm using is Postgres, because I'll be using Postgres provider. So let me instantiate the environment. And also, I have one environment variable, which is OpenLineage URL. This is pointing to the Marquez that I have local. And just let's wait a minute. So right now I don't have any OpenLineage related package installed. Well, right now it's installing, so I don't have anything. So let's just wait a second. Okay, so here is the Marquez. It's empty because obviously there is nothing. And let's okay, it should work in a minute. Superstring password. So for example, I think I don't need to run Postgres, but actually I don't have, just to prove, I don't have any typo. I do have actually, but without OpenLineage Airflow. I don't know why it's installed. But I run OpenLineage Airflow, which is the old package. I just need to restart things. Okay, it's working. So now I'm running some example that uses Focus as backend. And here we see that it's working, like the old OpenLineage Airflow is working. So now I run a command to install provider package as well. Let me restart everything again. So as I said previously, there is nothing to configure more if you have like OpenLineage URL, for example, here. And let me go to this one. I enable the second DAC here. So it's running. It should run. Okay. Well, it didn't work. I don't know. It should work. That's the beauty of demo live. All right. Sorry, I changed the namespace. So this is, well, sorry, this is development, but like the namespace change is the only one because I haven't, well, I experimented with something, I forgot about it. But eventually the events came to Marquez. We have it here. So this is how it looks like for this one. So I did not make any change here in Airflow, and I also can uninstall the previous one and run it again. So now if I trigger this, it should end soon. Okay, so when I go here and check the run history, it's free of them because I ran this 3 times here. So this is a quick demo, like for 3 options that you can have: the old package, both packages installed, and when we uninstall the old one and we just keep the provider one, it all works the same. Forget about the namespace, it's just my fault here, but basically it's all the same. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you. Any question about the migration from the old OpenLineage Airflow integration into the new Airflow provider OpenLineage, which is now built in Airflow? No. Thank you, Jacob, for this. And so the last part is the discussion item. We have Harel wanted to talk about observability for OpenLineage Marquez. I listed the ticket number for the things I was mentioning at the beginning, and happy to go through those. And so, Harel, do you want to start? And also, we have the open discussion. Feel free to, if you're in attendance, to add anything. If you have any question or something, this is a good time to mention. Harel, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll be quick. I just want to open up a question to the audience about what kind of, so maybe some preface before that. So OpenLineage observes jobs as they run, right? Like that's a lot of what we do is observing data processing, but at the risk of doing a bit overkill, is like, how do we ensure that we're actually making the right observations and not missing anything, right? So if you're using OpenLineage to power, let's say, a governance use case, you want to make sure that you have pretty good coverage, right? So you're not missing any of the lineage that has been collected from your system. So how do we ensure reliability of lineage collection is one topic that's kind of, I'm just thinking about recently, and I wanted to see from our user base, from the community, what kind of observability would people like to see. So I think in one of the latest releases, we just added to the Airflow integration, right? Like we just added basic stats metrics of like how many OpenLineage events were sent and how many were successfully sent, or how many errors, right? Like, is that enough? Some basic metrics. Are people interested in more things like distributed tracing? Like this can be very big, or this can be very small. So I'm just kind of curious to hear what people are interested here. And by the way, it doesn't have to be right now live. I can also just post this question later on the Slack channel, and we can kind of gather some feedback. So don't feel pressured to speak up now.
To me, the contribution you were saying we added, but you personally contributed adding the metrics for sending events. I think that's a good starting point, right? Like knowing how many events were meant to be sent, and you can compare to how many you received, and have a good metric on whether you drop anything or anything is happening in the reception of events. So that's a good start for me. Yeah. Anything else that people?
Observability on database retention. What do you mean, Harsh?
So currently we have enabled retention policy on all the environments. Everybody were concerned that, okay, say we have jobs, data sets, everything. Say I have a setup for 7 days, right? What are we removing? Like beyond 7 days, what we don't have in terms of meta information. So yeah, observability, that side will help in some way. And then how retention, in fact, helping in memory or CPU performance. Yeah. Yeah, that's what only we have logs in our tracing, but we don't have anything much out there.
Yeah, and that's a great topic, maybe also for the Marquez community meetup. Willie, I don't know if you want to chime in, but like we use Drop Wizard as a web server, so I'm pretty sure we can enable a bunch of metrics out of the box and then instrument a bunch more functions.
We were actually just discussing that. So Willie and I were visiting Asana, who's using Marquez for, and they were particularly interested in. We discussed having metrics on the retention job to know, so how many data sets we have left, what's the oldest data set you have, of these kind of things, right? Like keeping track of metrics of how the data retention job keep the database small or not, right? Depending on how that's configured. So I think that'd be a very interesting topic. That's definitely worthy of a GitHub issue to track what we could add. Really, anything you wanted to say?
Yeah. Julie, I had one question, if this makes sense. Yeah. Can I go now? Okay. I had this question. So if we see the OpenLineage Airflow integration, so whenever a DAG starts, there is an OpenLineage event being emitted which says exclusively that a DAG has started, kind of. So if at all we could do something like that for Spark as well, so that whenever a Spark application starts, we send out an OpenLineage event just to say that this is the start.
Yeah, I actually have some good news for you in that one. Pavel, do you want to take that one actually?
I think there's an issue for that, and there are more and more people interested in that. Because we divide our Spark application into multiple Spark actions and send events per start and complete of each Spark action. But yeah, people would like to know when the whole application, whole job is started and completed. And I don't remember the issue number, but what we need here is some kind of parent run facet, which will tell for each Spark action that it belongs to a bigger entity, which is a Spark application, and the Spark application has to send start, fail, or complete events.
Right.
Yeah, that's the plan, and there are more and more people interested in it. I think Jens also would like to have this.
Thanks, Pavel. Thanks for the explanation. Yeah.
I think maybe if I can add to that, from our perspective, it would be also great to have unique job names for the Spark actions and the parent Spark application, so that we can distinguish each of those and also the runs of those. I think currently they have what is it, different job names but the same run name or something like that. I've been discussing that with Pavel a bit, how we could unify that.
Yeah, so at the moment, the job name is constructed based on the name of the operator or Spark logical node that is the root, and we append a dataset name to it. So it's kind of the concatenation of your variables. And some collisions may occur in the job names, which so far we didn't think it's a huge problem because yeah, it blurs graph a bit, but we thought that it's more important to have the job name human readable instead of, you know, giving UUID to it. But we can make it optional too, because what makes the way we can identify the uniqueness of job is by doing some kind of hash on logical plan. So there are options to make job name unique.
Okay, any more comment on this topic? So I can go over on, and feel free to interrupt and ask more questions as I go on this. So I listed 4 items. I don't intend to go over in the details in each of them, but you know, feel free if there's one of those that you're interested in going in more details, please interrupt and say so, and we'll go in more details. So last time we had a pretty good discussion about creating an OpenLineage registry for consumers and producers. And so what I've done is writing down and summarizing what we discussed in the Google Doc. So for now, there's a Google Doc that you can see in the issue. And there's a bit of context on why we need a registry and what it's supposed to help and what's, you know, what the requirements should be validated by CI and so on, and some access control when modifying it. And we discussed 2 options, and the proposal one was the first proposal, but I think we're leaning towards the second proposal with a self-contained repository. So basically it would just be, you know, in the registry, in the OpenLineage spec as a registry folder, and then organizing around registered entities. And so everybody could have code owners when they could maintain this and define metadata of what they publish and so on, or consume. I moved to the bottom of the document, the notes, discussion, open items that came up during the meeting last time. And so at this point, I would really encourage everyone to just comment in the doc so that we can converge on what we want to do and get to, and then I'll create a formal proposal document in OpenLineage to actually implement that once we have a good consensus on what we want. So that's where we at for the registry. So, you know, it's issue number 2161 in the OpenLineage repo. Second item, in the same ID as the, you know, Jakub just presented the get OpenLineage facet, a new optional contract for providers, for Airflow operators, so that each operator can expose their lineage. We're proposing to add optional contract like this to make it more built in DBT and Spark. So in DBT, I actually spoke to the DBT core people, and we agreed that we'd create an issue on DBT itself to discuss this. So I put a proposal for DBT to expose an OpenLineage dataset directly into their manifest file. And so there's been some exchange with the DBT contributors. So it's there if you're curious to give feedback or follow on what's happening. And so that would be one step closer to have OpenLineage built in DBT. On the Spark side of thing, right now, so in Spark, you know, it's similar to the Airflow extractors, right? We have visitors for the logical plan that understand the various scanner operators, basically. So in particular, the Spark integration knows whether it's reading snowflake relation or Hive or Iceberg or Delta or plain files in S3 or, you know, GCS or wherever people are storing their data, and knows how to define unique data sets based on this. And so the downside is whenever people use custom data source in Spark that have their own implementation or own abstraction of data, this becomes opaque, of course. And so the idea is to propose an optional contract here. Oh, I realized some of the links kind of didn't make it through this. But basically, when people can provide the get input dataset or get output dataset on their scans or on the action nodes, and make it an optional contract that if you implement a data source, you can expose the lineage in the relation nodes that goes with it. And so I put this here, and similarly, there's a Google Doc to comment on, like some people have started commenting on. If you have opinion about this, we could do this. I think we could just start prototyping this for some Spark extensions that provide additional metadata and so on. So it's here, it's the issue number 2162 on OpenLineage. And the last item that has been mentioned is having a certification process. So this is the least advanced doc right now. But so what I've done is just creating a doc. So for now, it doesn't provide, this doc doesn't have any solution or proposal on how we would do it exactly, but I've started documenting the why, you know, and kind of doing some structure. And oh, thank you, Jens, for commenting on it. And so this is the beginning of a discussion. So, you know, if you have opinions on how this should work, I know some of you on the calls do, please comment on the document, and we can start making a proposal on how we want to do this. So as the OpenLineage ecosystem is growing, we really need to start having more structure about a certification process. How do we know that we're implementing OpenLineage properly? And how do we know that we are producing OpenLineage properly? So right now, there's some elements, right? You have some example facets in the repository you can use to know that you consume it correctly. And you have JSON schema that you know you're producing valid facets. But it's not, you know, we don't have like a very formalized process for people to say, hey, I've done this, I know it's correct according to this. So that's it. That's what I wanted to just point out, those things. And I think the best way is to go in the document and put your point of view, or, you know, feel free to ask questions on Slack as well, and so on. And we can help growing the ecosystem and scale the community as we get more numerous in those calls. Any questions? Or comment, or does this make any sense? Right.
I wanted to say that it makes a lot of sense for the Spark integration to have the dataset support, because this integration is getting orthogonal in many dimensions. Like we're supporting different Spark versions, like we still support Spark 2, 3.1, 3.2, last month they released 3.5. Then when you multiply it by the number of iceberg versions, and then you multiply it by a number of the delta versions, which get released per Spark version. Then you still have an option to add the BigQuery connector to it, which has also multiple versions. And at the end, you know, the complexity arises, and it's a necessity to do it within the next year or some period.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, the move of the OpenLineage Airflow integration in Airflow itself is a great example of the goal of OpenLineage is to be just a spec, and instead of having, you know, libraries that go and introspect into the internals of those systems, it's just the goal is to just be built in, and it makes everything more reliable. You know, there's a lot less maintenance, there's lots less breakage across versions, and I think it's better for everyone. So that's kind of going toward that way. Now that we achieve this for Airflow, you know, we can keep pushing on Spark and dbt and other Beam, you know, other things that people might be interested in. Okay. Thank you everyone for attending. So please feel welcome to chime in on those things if you have opinions or ask questions in Slack. Yeah, do you have any, if you have any more questions, this is your last chance for today. Nope. Okay, otherwise you're welcome to follow up on Slack as well. You'll find the link to join the Slack on the OpenLineage website. Thank you everyone. Have a great day, have a great evening and great night, depending on your time zone. And see you next time. Bye-bye.